Welcome to Ion Franchising, where you will learn the A to Z's of franchising. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another fantastic episode of Ion Franchising. I am your host, Lance Graulich. So today we're going to get a little bit creative. So we like to talk to successful franchisees and successful franchisors. Well, today I have a combination of both. This gentleman was an incredibly successful franchisee of this very creative brand. There's a hint for you, very creative and something artistic or artsy. And he started as a franchisee with this brand in 2014. And today he is the CEO and one of the owners of Painting with a Twist. Welcome, Todd Owen.
It's great to be with you, Lance. And I thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity on your platform.
My pleasure, Todd. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. So let's go back, way back. Now, we can go as far back as you'd like, but why franchising? How did you become a franchisee? Let's talk a little bit about your history, because obviously our show is about everything franchising. So people that are, maybe considering a franchise might want to look inside what you've done and maybe follow your path, perhaps.
Sure. So I'll go back to college. I graduated from the University of South Florida, which is in Tampa. Majored in business management, BA in management. Was hired by the largest retailer in the world off the campus. Spent 30 plus years with them. The last 15 years, been running a very large business for them, in excess of $1 billion in sales annually, roughly 4,000 employees and 120 plus salaried managers. And that experience, and it's Walmart, of course, Lance, largest retailer in the world.
I was just going to throw it out there.
Yeah, well, there's no sense in hiding it, but the opportunity that company gave me and the learnings over this long career has been just instrumental in my growth and business acumen and being able to bring it, to Painting with a Twist. As far as getting in on the franchise end of it, it's kind of interesting. My other half, who was also with Walmart, retired in 2014, started receiving business build a basket books started showing up at the house, and I'm like, oh no way are we going down this path. But thank goodness her and 3 girlfriends went to a Painting with a Twist, and that night they came home roughly 10 o'clock, and I have never seen 4 women so excited in all my life.
So tell me, Todd, how did they find Painting with a Twist, or how did somebody from Painting with a Twist find them?
So, it's girls' night out, Googling things to do in Tampa, Florida. Great website, went on the website, booked a class for the 4 of them, instructor-led, guided classes. It's again, safe space for women to meet is the best way I can describe it. Not the regular bar scene, Lance, where
right.
You have all kinds of walks of life, hounding you if you're a woman, potentially. But we're real safe where you can, gather with friends, have a glass of wine, do something in the DIY space that is absolutely incredible. But what sold me, Lance, on this was the reaction. I have never seen 4 women so excited about what they just did in painting a 16 by 20 canvas, and they were amazing painting. So that night, I said, hey, there's something you should look at. Boredom set in, and one thing led to another. We vetted 3 other paint and sip brands, and it was clear what the choice for us was, which was Painting with a Twist. And the first one officially for us opened in 2015, and then.
And where was that?
That was in Brandon, Florida, which is in Hillsborough County, right outside of Tampa. Same county as what Tampa is in. And then we opened up 2 more studios in short order, one in Winter Haven and another in Pinellas Park, and then purchased one in South Tampa. Quickly after that, probably 6 months in, I was asked to be on the Franchise Advisory Council, and I immediately fell in love with the franchisees. So still doing my big boy job and spending lots of nights and off times on Painting with a Twist and with the 2 founders of Painting with a Twist. And I think probably more than anything, it's helping franchisees become successful from an franchise advisory council, and then the eclectic array of personalities that existed through our brand was incredible. I mean, it was incredible. All teachers, nurses, lawyers, doctors, accountants, I mean, you name it, bartenders, I mean, they exist. So but all had that will to succeed, the entrepreneurial spirit. And it was just, I just fell in love with the franchisees and the system.
So Todd, we got a lot to kind of unpack in that last segment. So
Sure.
what was your wife officially retired from Walmart in 2014. So what was her role in your first Painting with a Twist, or second and third, as you develop more?
So obviously owner operator.
Yeah, she's the boss. We know that.
Oh, it's without question. I mean, that cannot be it just, you can't be disputed. I mean, she was definitely the boss. I got intimately involved on the social media marketing end of it, and obviously managing the finances and things like that. But came out of the gate on Studio One swinging, and I, be honest with you, Lance, I just wanted it to break even and keep her busy. And then I was like, oh my goodness,
we're making money.
We're making lots of money, and she loves it, and I'm loving this, and this is exciting. So that's what led, obviously to the fore. And then obviously, as you grow it out, Lance, you develop studio managers, and you take, artists that you have and develop those skill sets. And we still have 6 originals with us from 2014.
I love it. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
You brought up something great that I absolutely love about franchising, is that so many people that aren't in franchising just make assumptions. So that anybody that owns a McDonald's franchise had to have kitchen experience or be a cook or whatever it might be.
Sure.
And there's nothing that's further from the truth, just by the example that you gave. You probably have people that have no artistic ability at all that own a Painting with a Twist. These aren't artists. Maybe there's a few that have some background as an art teacher, but very few, I'm sure, right?
You're obviously, you're spot on. It's what's amazing too, and what is unique about our franchisees, probably 99% of them were customers, and fell in love with that whole experience. That, again, if I could bottle up what those Gina and her 3 friends had that night in 2014, and that energy, and the experience that they go through, and the fun factor of it, and the uniqueness of it all, is what it's the secret sauce.
And Todd, for those people that are listening that have not been to a Painting with a Twist, you got a couple hundred locations, but for the people that haven't been to any locations, talk a little bit about the experience. What's the product? What do you have? Walk us through what happens when you walk in the door until the time you leave.
Sure, and it's a great question. So 90% of our transaction, Lance, are done online. So we do a lot of marketing through social media, Google AdWords, et cetera, to reach this customer base. But you literally go onto our website, select the studio that is closest to you, and then a whole new world opens up. A calendar of events and paintings. We have over 20,000 paintings in our library for
Wow.
our studios to select from. And so the franchisee, it's, you know, I want to get back to the experience. I don't want to jump, but so they go on there and go, wow, I want to paint that. And obviously just about nobody, Lance, goes alone. So they'll access the site, go, I love this painting. They'll call their girlfriends. And we also have date nights for husbands, boyfriends, significant others, etc. And so they book the reservation online. It's all spelled out for them very clearly. Come 15 minutes beforehand, unwind, have a glass of wine. Tables are set up. They're typically nameplates at each seat. They find their nameplate, sit down, and in front of them, Lance, is a completely blank canvas with a paint palette with the colors that they're going to use to create their masterpiece.
I love it.
In the meantime, you have an artist on stage with a headset and a microphone, talking it all up, greeting everybody as they walk in. And then the artist on stage, and we also typically have a floor artist, depending on the size of the class, helping assist and give some technique suggestions if needed. But the
for people like me that need a lot of suggestions.
Lance, let me tell you, the first time I did it was, okay, we're vetting these people. I went and painted a seahorse, and I couldn't believe it because I don't have an artistic bone in my body. And I could not believe when I was done. I'm like, I can't believe I did this. I took my daughter and of course Gina, and we went and did it. And I was like, okay, I'm all in. If I can pull this off, and we had a blast. So anyway,
awesome.
Getting back to the artist. So the artist on stage, I mean, they're an entertainer as well as an artist, and it's all about the entertainment that they deliver, to the guests in our studios, Lance, and that culture that we have and the fun factor. And, at breaks, they'll play little games that are, just fun and, give away a gift certificate and those type of things. But I'll tell you, it's when they're done and they're amazed and they look at their painting and class picture, and it's something they experience. It's out of this world.
Yeah, that's something you can't really replace these days, having just gone through this awful pandemic that threw everybody for a loop. People are talking about the future again, and you can't eliminate the experience that people still want to have by going out and having a good time, especially with a concept like painting with a twist. But you had your share of challenges as you were in certain states that you had to be shut down, whether you were a hair salon or painting with a twist. Somehow you were maybe deemed you weren't an essential business somehow.
Yeah, and obviously that was the case, and it was a very challenging time for our system. I do want to credit the last group that ran our brand, did a masterful job at innovating our product line to include virtual classes where you could sign up and we would teach you via Zoom to do a painting. And
that's awesome.
Our supply chain, which is TD Art Supply, would send them a paint kit with the paint, with the canvas, brush, apron, etc. So we would mail them, or artists would deliver them to homes, or you could come by, we're allowed to pick up a kit. And
that's
then,
awesome.
And it got us through it, and they did a really great job with it.
Yeah, and you help people with franchisees with PPP loans. I mean, you were a franchisee in the heart of the pandemic, and corporate help with that.
Let me tell you, Lance, again, those two things, I'm very grateful for the last group that came through and that we're running it for those two reasons. The innovation that they built, and then the way they guided us. And at that time it was us, because I was a franchisee, Lance. Yep. Guided us through the PPP process, and then guided us through the process if needed. Not every studio obviously needed it, but they did a masterful job at, I mean, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week phone calls, guiding franchisees through it, helping them through it. Pardon me.
Okay.
Developing the strategies to help keep that top line going and getting studios through it. So, and even I got to tell you, even in development, they did a nice job too, helping with lease negotiations and engaging landlords on behalf of franchisees who didn't necessarily have the skill set to do it. So all those things combined really help this system get through it.
So I'm hearing from my sources that not only have you recovered, but you've, through the pandemic, you're back to not only pre-pandemic numbers, but you've started to exceed that.
Yeah, I'm pretty jazzed about it, and we're just getting started. We're 10 months in with these new strategies, new ways of looking at our business, and for the first 6 months this year, we are crushing average unit volume. We're up 8% over 2019. We don't look at 2020 or 2021.
Wow.
It's a huge growth opportunity. And again, when I want to stress, we are just getting started. We have about 500,000 square feet of retail frontage across the US, Lance, and we do about 85% of our sales comes after 7 p.m. And we have these studios that are they're underutilized 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So there's a whole new world that we're opening up from a growth standpoint during those hours and innovating in the DIY space. And when I need to control my excitement. I mean, I am jazzed up about the opportunity that we have.
So Todd, when you were a franchisee versus today, because you took over as CEO in 2021, but from the past to currently, have the hours changed at all yet, or are the hours of operation still the same?
So it's really stayed consistent because obviously our core business, Lance, is paint and sip. What I described, and painting,
paint and sip.
Paint and sip. So you're painting and you're drinking, and most of our, the Friday, Saturday night, Sunday night, Thursday night during the week classes, the core is 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And that's again where we do 85% of our business is during those hours. So, and again, catered towards 90% of our customers are women.
Yeah.
And then we do some other things, earlier on Saturday. A lot of studios run what we call kid classes, and we'll do some kids camps in the summer. But we have an extremely huge opportunity to grow revenue and raise AUV in a massive way, and it's already coming to life, and I'm ecstatic.
So let's talk about your transition from franchisee to CEO. How'd that come about? And obviously, how's it been going? Because not quite a year in that position, but pretty close.
So, I was, again, our founder, Kathy Dino, gosh, when I tell you, she is the one that has kept this entire thing together. She's done an amazing job with it. Before I talk about myself, I've seen her get choked up about her love for the franchisees, about her expectations, and the accountability that I feel from her on the way we're going to conduct business at the home office with our franchisees and the way they're going to be treated. She is an amazing founder. But getting back to me, Lance, I was being on the FAC in driving some changes through the system, it really gave me the opportunity to get to know and at conferences and meet all these franchisees and build relationships and phone conversations, hundreds of franchisees that I had. And then the other thing was in 2018 when myself and Dave, which is one of the co-owners of the brand, launched TD Art Supply. And that company, Lance, saved the average franchisee and supply costs to run classes on average, at that time, about $8,000 a year.
Wow.
So that also made a lot of deposits, again, on my behalf, which obviously having that trust walking in as a franchisee, as an FAC, as a supplier to their studios, it has uniquely positioned me to come out swinging with trust out of the chute. And a lot of times people like me spend months and months and months building trust. Yeah. So I was able to skip that step, and I hope that makes sense. I really was able to skip that step, and it's been awesome.
It's awesome that you have the ability to support and help as a major vendor to the franchisees. That's incredible. And to help with that amount of savings, that's tremendous. And there's so many supply chain related issues today, and for you to help franchisees so they don't have to worry about that is fantastic.
Yeah. And the other thing, Lance, and case studies will tell you, we don't make it. You have to buy from TD Art Supply. What our goal is and what we need to deliver on is be the lowest price in the United States on the supplies they need. And if we can deliver on that, they'll buy from us, as long as it's great quality and we operate with integrity. And if we're not, here are your other options. So we're not going to get into that game, of you have to buy from. That's no way to run a business. Earn the business from the franchisees and others.
I love it. So tell us a little bit about your process. Now that you're a CEO, you're looking to grow, you already have, what's on my list here, 225 studios or so open?
Yeah. So, and we're actually, Lance, on track to open up more studios this year than we have the last 4, 2018, wow. 2019, 2020, 2021. And what's really exciting about it is we're getting internal growth, where we're getting studio owners who are loving what we're doing and reinvesting in the brand. And we haven't had that in quite some time. And I always tell the team, our performance will dictate our growth. Our ability to give franchisees the ROI that they deserve. And if we're all maniacally focused on delivering those things, it remarkably takes care of itself. And it's been happened a little quicker than I thought. And I'm excited because, Lance, the franchisees are amazing. The team at the home office is just incredible in their willingness to change, and I'm the type of guy, I don't even like being called CEO. I believe I can't stand it, to be honest with you. I'm Todd, I'm like you, we're the same, we're equal, your opinion matters. And it's like, and again, I often tell the team, we're going to build a team so strong nobody knows who the boss is.
I love it.
It's one thing, these people go out there and say those cliches. If you were to talk to the home office team, they would tell you they have a voice, their opinion matters. I don't know, the franchisees know, the home office team knows. And if we listen closely enough to the entire segment, we'll get the right answers for the benefit of the franchisee. Sorry, I'm going off on, I'm very passionate about it. Passionate about it.
Todd, this is important stuff. And you're only oozing the information that people really want to get to. Why do I want to be part of your brand? Well, obviously, your company culture that you're so proud of, people will be able to pick up on that throughout the process. So if somebody, and look, by the way, let me digress for a second. You just said something that's incredibly powerful. As you're growing and growing faster than you've grown in the last 4 years combined, which is amazing, you're obviously having existing franchisees that are growing and adding additional locations. That's one of the most powerful signs of success, is that existing franchisees want to do it again and again, just like you did, because you had multiple units. That is the number one sign of success. But talk a little bit about the process. So myself as a franchise broker, if a listener wants to talk to you or a member of your team, describe the process. How long does it generally take from the first phone call to becoming a franchisee? And what are the fun little unique steps along the way?
Yeah, obviously we want to get back to in-person discovery days, Lance. We've been doing them virtually, but I know if I get potentials in front of my team, the rest will take care of itself. So we're working on that vigorously. But, obviously we have our funnel of potential new franchisees, and we get that funnel all the way down, and then they go through a 4-person vetting process with the team, and the 4 people that they get to talk to have been with us a combined 40 plus years. We're a 13-year-old brand, so you can do the math on how long they've been there. So we go through and they interview them, and there's a personality assessment test. I know Lance, there's a slew of them out there, and we all do it, and the results come back, and they all look about the same to me, by the way. So I'm not sold on some of this stuff, but once they, and I'm, look, money is important, and that's our job, is to make people money.
You have to protect the brand.
Yep. And I want people who have been to a class, who are looking us up, because just like me, and just like probably 90% of our franchisees out there, they fell in love with something. And I know if you're passionate, and I'm sure you can tell I'm passionate about this. Yes, I know if you're passionate, your chances of success in our brand go through the roof. And it's Z after Z who's like that, just knock it out of the park. But after the 4, then I get to visit with them at the end, and really visit with them, get to know them, what we're doing right here, Lance. That's the conversation that I have with them, to be honest with you. Yep.
And you have some sort of validation stage. You mentioned discovery day. Every brand has some sort of discovery day, meet the team, where you meet the executive team. Obviously, there's this slow progression. I always tell people, nobody asks for your credit card in the first phone call.
We put all 19 of us on a Zoom call, Lance, and we
Perfect.
go through the introductions, and I could talk to you the entire length of time about our home office staff and all the amazing things that they've done for this brand. But yes.
So what's the training like when you become a franchisee?
So, and again, we're working on getting back to in-person training again. Right now, we do it via Zoom. We offer, and it's really awesome, Lance, when I tell you, we just completed one last week. We have one scheduled every 6 weeks, and it's 5 intense days of putting you through soup to nuts, top to bottom. And now it's exciting that, so we have a lot of current franchisees. We let them go through it. You can go through it at any time. You can put managers through it any time. That's why we have it every 6 weeks. We even had a 11-year, actually we had 3 combined. They probably 25 years in our brand went back through corporate training last week.
And where is this training held?
So it's held via Zoom. And when I tell you my team has this thing dialed in, I mean, Lance, it is dialed in.
That's awesome.
And then obviously we send out the rating surveys and get that feedback. But the ratings on the feedback, I think we put 15 people through it last week, and the ratings from it they're always, I mean, they're through the roof,
I
and
love it.
it's
So
awesome.
so I heard you like to empower your franchisees. You really just set them up for success, and you give them that freedom. Because one of the other misconceptions about franchising is that you got this stranglehold on people. And I always tell people, I said, when you find the right brand, they just want the right people to be trained to execute the model as it was intended, and you run with it. So describe a little bit for me how you do it and how you empower franchisees.
Yeah, I think that's, probably one of the things that maybe we could have done better over the last few years, is we really harnessed franchisees from innovating in the space and truly listening to their ideas so we can bring them to life. So literally, Lance, right now in a studio in Colorado, we've empowered a franchisee to build a splatter room inside the studio. And what a splatter room is, you go into this room and it's out there in various
Is this a
sizes.
form of anger management?
Yeah, exactly. But and the team was hesitant. I said, she's passionate about it. Her name's AJ. She's an incredible franchisee. I said, listen, one studio out of 225. She wants to do it. Let's see what she can do with it. And we're gonna build some marketing assets for her and help her out. And let's see. I mean, it's the best example I can use when you talk about innovating.
Todd, I'm gonna whisper right now an idea that I have based on that. You should rename it Painting with a Splat.
There you go.
at least in that room.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
So we talked about COVID. Let's talk about your leadership style. You're the new CEO since August. You have all this real world big box experience. How is your leadership style? You already mentioned some changes, but what do you see going forward? Not only the future of the concept, but your leadership style within it.
Yeah, and I covered it a little bit ago. And again, for better or worse, I'm completely brainwashed over my 30 plus years at Walmart, and seeing and being exposed to some of the best and brightest leaders, whether it be military, professional athletes, CEOs of various companies. Again, I feel like I'm the luckiest guy in the world to have been exposed to all this. And again, it's who you become and who you are as a leader. And listen, obviously I have a big type A personality. Sometimes I have an ego, but when we talk about building a winning team, in a team where nobody knows who the boss is, instead of saying, I don't know, he's the vice president of IT, I say he runs IT. Yeah. She runs operations, she runs marketing. We want to go, you're the chief development officer. You're the executive leadership team. No, because my art department, who intimately have knowledge of what's going on in studios, they have something to offer in every conversation, Lance. So it's one of inclusive, it's one of your opinion matters, but it's not, we're going to talk about it for days on end. We're going to talk about it. We're going to come up with a solution or a decision, and we're going to move fast. And not this, let's have a meeting for the meeting and have another meeting for the meeting. That's not my style. My style is, let's have a great business decision. Let's include franchisees. Let's pull a team together. Let's have a task force. Let's meet, let's land, let's move. And it's one of empowerment. And, in each of the groups, they have a sandbox to play in. And I often tell them, I don't mind if you play outside the sandbox. Play. We have to explore. It's the only way we can get better.
But can you color outside the lines? Now, I wanted to ask investment. I didn't ask the square footage and the investment.
So we have, two models. One room studio. It can be anywhere from 1,000 square feet to 1,300 square feet. Our prototype, the ideal is a 2,000 square foot, 50 by 40 or 40 by 50, box, where you can have a private party room incorporated within the space.
Gotcha.
So.
And how about wine? How do you, how do you get away with, like, licensing is different in different places?
It is, and we've gotten through it in the 38 states that we're in and really skinned the cat and figured it out. But most lands, just again, generic, I'll make a generic statement. The easiest way is a beer and wine license, and they're very inexpensive, which enables most of our studios to be able to bring it in to the space and consume it. So with that license, early on we were doing the bottle club license, and that created a lot of people having to go in front of county commissioners because it has a bad connotation behind it. Is this going to be some other type of club? So, but and there's a couple of states, California, Michigan, there's some tougher things that we have to go through.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So speaking of states or territories, what are your hottest areas that you're still looking? I mean, you're looking for franchisees in a lot of places, but if you had a hot list of a few areas, what are they?
Yeah. So, Kansas City, just absolutely a must. And then there's another dozen highly dense populated areas where we're not, in metropolitan areas that fit our demo. And we're targeting those areas very aggressively. We have work though to do. And again, it's from our growth standpoint, it's, put them where they're not. I have no problem competing against anybody. We're not going to impact any of our studios currently. And I have a rule that no matter what, and we have all the data, and it's completely dissected, no more than 5%. And I don't even want to do that right now. And then the other one I'll mention is Memphis.
Memphis, got it.
Oh yeah.
Are you in Nashville?
So no, yes, we are in Nashville. Yep, in and around Nashville. In fact, one of our owners lives in Nashville, and she actually has a couple studios in and around Nashville as well.
Nice.
Teresa Johnson. Yep, she's awesome.
I've been to Memphis, been to Nashville, so it sounds like great opportunities. Any final words of wisdom? I mean, look, you've told everybody a lot of great stuff, and I'm sure you'll continue to have interest. You're already crazy successful, but any final thoughts for today?
Yeah, if you give me an opportunity to talk about some of our home office team, there's Trey Manthe. He's our head of IT. He's built out the best paint and sip platform you've ever seen in your entire life. It's proprietary in nature. It's not an off-the-shelf system. It integrates with our website. Anything that you could possibly want for paint and sip, numerics, mining of data, knowing the best selling. If you want to know the best selling paintings for Mother's Day, the last 5 years, you can mine the data in 2 seconds. But what he has built there is nothing short of incredible. Katie Richard, who's in charge of our operations team, she's been with us for a dozen years. She has personally opened, Lance, over 100 studios.
Wow.
So she has been the ops consultant on 100 of our openings and has an incredible team. Brittany Graff, who's the head of our marketing and has an amazing team. The things that they have built and the vendors that we have for our franchisees, it is absolutely, and they have made this thing, and I hate to use the word dummy, but it's almost dummy proof the way we have built this marketing out. And when I tell you in 2 seconds, you can have a comprehensive web present, marketing present, where your ads go in CNN, Fox News, Us Magazine, People Magazine, retargeting, the ads that follow you around, Google AdWords, Facebook, Instagram, with the push of a button, Lance, for our franchisees. So, and I could go on and on and on and on.
Those are all the reasons you want a franchise, and you want to you want to buy or you want to invest in a Painting with a Twist franchise for sure, based on all that.
Yep, for sure.
Todd
For
Owen,
sure.
thank you so much for being here, Painting with a Twist. And until next time.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you, Lance.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for listening today. Please like, follow, and subscribe. This is Lance Graulich. Until next time.